Welcome to the Triticeae Toolbox tutorial, Lesson 1, Selecting Germplasm in T3. In this lesson, you will be shown how to find individual lines and select sets of lines either by properties, phenotypes, or haplotypes. This lesson will use examples from T3 wheat, found at triticeatoolbox.org/wheat, and T3 barley, triticeatoolbox.org/barley. The simplest way to access information for an individual line is to enter the name in the quick search box in the left menu. Entering craft on T3 takes you directly to the line record page. On this page, T3 displays the pedigree, origin, and morphological characters of the variety. There will also be links to the GRIN database if a record exists there. Phenotype data can be accessed from the line record page. And T3 then creates a table with all of the trial names and trait values seen for that line. And marker scores will also be available if this line was genotyped. If the line is a member of a panel, that will be indicated here. Individual lines can also be found via the Select Lines by Properties menu. Here, users can also use wildcards to broaden a search within the name you type into that text box, just by placing asterisks in place of a letter. Lines found by this method will be added to the Lines Found table. Click Add to Selected, and the Show Information button will build a table for you, in this case with just one line showing. Click on the link name to navigate to the line information page. A new feature in T3 is the ability to create a set of lines that were involved in a genotype experiment. So in this example, I've selected the USDA Fargo Lab 2011 and the NSGC lines, 2,400 of those. Once I hit Save, it will populate the queue, and notice and these lines will be available from the left menu. From the Select Lines by Properties page, groups of lines can be selected by the breeding program or the year the line was added to T3. Barley lines can also be chosen by their primary end use, seasonal growth habit, row type, and the presence of a hull. Here, T3 is asked to return a list of barley varieties adapted to winter with 6 rowed spikes and hulless grain. Clicking the Show Line Information button populates a table, and users can download the table here. Selecting groups of wheat lines by natural properties is done sequentially in T3. In this example, a user wants to find red awnless winter wheat. The category agronomic is selected first, populating a table of available agronomic traits. Select the property growth habit to create a new table for spring, winter, or facultative. Winter is selected for this example, and T3 finds over 3,000 winter lines in the database. Repeat the selections to narrow your set. So next, morphological is selected, the state of the awns and awnless. When the user hits search, the list is narrowed to 459 lines. The text below shows the details of the searches. Repeat the morphological category for seed color, red or white. Selecting red narrows the group to 55 lines, and the table of line information is then built. T3 also lets users select lines based on performance through the Select Lines by Phenotype interface. In this example, a user is interested in barley lines with good malting quality and good grain yield. Select a trait category, in this case malting quality, which populates the trait table. Select the trait malt protein to populate a table of trials that measured that trait. All trials are selected in this example. A histogram is generated to report the range of values for this trait in the database. Users can then fine-tune the values for their trait of interest. Here, only lines that had from 9 to 11% malt protein from any trials will be selected. From these lines, users can then narrow the selection to those with, for example, high grain yield. Click the Intersect button, then the agronomic category. This populates the trait table, and select grain yield. From here, you can select individual locations by depressing the Alt key in Windows or the Command key on Mac and click the trials. You can also select all trials by holding the Shift key. Here, the intersection of high grain yield and desirable malt protein has been narrowed to 46 lines. If you have genetic markers of interest, T3 makes it simple to choose lines by the haplotype. Lesson 3 will cover marker selection in detail. Place the markers in the T3 buffers on the Select Markers page. 3 random markers were selected for this example. Click the Select by Haplotype tab and T3 will draw a table with all possible haplotypes found for the markers chosen. T3 also reports the number of lines in the collection that have this haplotype. Select all A alleles and T3 will return the line information with the 15 cultivars with this haplotype.